Hey kids, Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon, and then I post it up to Facebook. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka done. I'd like to thank my sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. They are an online therapy company. They are international. You can chat with them if you want to chat with them. You can do video. It is just phenomenal. And I've been getting a lot of really good feedback from people using them. It's easy. It's convenient. They're licensed. They're professional. They're master's level or PhD level. If you're outside of the United States, you can get into a therapist with BetterHelp. If you're inside the United States, they'll find somebody in your state. And it's just, I'm happy. I'm very happy with them. So thank you. BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. Okay. Happy New Year's, everybody. I hope you guys had a great time. Moana did really good. I was really kind of surprised because she was kind of chill. She was a little panty when it started sounding like the Tet Offensive outside our back door, but she was a little panty, but then she calmed right down. So that was good. I was very happy about that. We had a dog that we used to babysit, Chance. He was the sweetest thing, but oh my God, the fireworks would go off and he would lose his mind. I would have to sit with him in the closet and calm him down. So poor thing. Anyway, I'm not a huge fan of fireworks. I like the ones that you kind of like, like the fountains, the ones that don't make a lot of noise. That would be good. So anyway, so hope you guys are having a great new year, and I've got some questions that I wanted to answer. All right. I just found out that some of my siblings are contesting my parents' will. Ooh, thank God they had a will. The will divided everything evenly, and now some of them are trying to get it thrown out. Oy, gewalt. Okay, so I don't even know where to begin with this one. There's so much. So disordered people value things above people. Because people have no more value to them. If I can find where did my pen go? I don't have my pen, but I have a pencil. We have no more meaning to them than this pencil. Like seriously, like people are objects to be used. And disordered people are that's the word I'm looking for. The things they find precious, I just don't understand. That's a song line from some song, but they don't. I don't get it. It's like they would rather blow up a sibling, a parent, a cousin, a friend, or whatever over money. But seriously, so money is their God. Literally, money is their God. And they don't care about fairness, because here's the thing. Even though the will was divided fairly, in their minds, it's not fair. And I know, that's crazy. That is the big cray-cray. It really is. But to them, it's a James Bond film. The world is never enough. It's not enough. The world is not enough. If they got everything in the world and you had just a little something, they'd want that too. Because they're selfish, because they're crazy, because they value things over people. They don't value people. They don't. It's like people have no meaning to them. We are literally objects to be used. And when we outlive our usefulness, toss into the garbage. That's what they do. So I'm not surprised if they're disordered that is what's happening. What can you do? Well, smart people always put in a line about whoever tries to contest this will get exactly $1. I love that. I'm just like, take that. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't worry about it. If they were of sound mind and it was notarized and there were witnesses, they're going to be spinning their wheels and blowing a lot of money with lawyers to try to get this undone. You could go consult with a family law person, a person who does estate planning, that kind of thing, an attorney, and see what they think. But there's really not a lot you can do. It's kind of like if the will was notarized and there was witnesses and they were of sound mind, and it really takes a lot to prove somebody is not of sound mind. So you would have to have documentation out the wazoo in order to prove somebody not of sound mind. And since both of them are gone, and there wasn't anything prior to that, it's unlikely that they're going to be able to pull anything up. Now, they may find a sleazy lawyer that will, try to find loopholes and things like that. I really wouldn't worry about it too much. Go do a consult with a family planning lawyer and see what they say, but make sure they understand high conflict families, because this is not going to end just when the will is distributed. A lot of times, disordered siblings or disordered whoever is in the will demand to be the executor because they think it gives them more power than it does. Really, all an executor does is pay the bills. That's it. They can't just grab the money and start, because you can demand forensics accounting of what's going in and what's going out. So, yeah, it's narcissists, disordered people show themselves for who they are when real life events happen, meaning weddings, funerals, births, birthdays, anniversaries, holidays. Oh, yeah. They really show you who they really are, because a healthy, normal family, when the will is disclosed and it's evenly divided, they would be like, cool, sweet, all right, everybody gets a little something, that's awesome. But narcissists, like I said, especially really disordered narcissists, they honestly think that they deserve more. What's mine is mine and what's yours is mine. That's how they think, truly. Like I said, even if they had literally everything and you got just this little tiny thing that maybe had sentimental value, they'd want that too. So they're greedy, they're selfish, they're illogical. I wouldn't waste your money on a lawyer except for the consult, just to kind of get an idea of, what can you do, and make sure you have a copy of the will with you so that you can show the lawyer, hey, it's signed, it's notarized, it's done. There was no dementia, there was no, whatever. And that's really the only thing you can do, unless, of course, they find a sleazy attorney and they try to find some loophole or something, in which case you get your attorney and you go after them. So it is a betrayal, and it is shocking, I think, to healthy people, because you're just kind of like, this was fair. Everybody got, it was divided evenly. This was fair. So what is your problem? Well, their problem is that they don't see it that way. They're looking through the world through a circus house mirror. It's warped. It is just warped. And so in their minds, they want it all. They deserve it. That's seriously, I've heard them say that. I deserve it. I did this and I did that. I. Oh my God, ego. And, I deserve this and I deserve that. And they don't, but they think they do. So, and they'll accuse other siblings of all sorts of things. I have seen disordered siblings accuse other siblings of embezzling when nothing was going on. I have seen disordered siblings accuse the other siblings of abuse when nothing was going on. It's just they'll do whatever they think they need to in order to get theirs. So go consult with a family planning attorney. Bring the will with you. Explain the situation. Ask them their opinion, and then take it from there. So, but like I said, unless they can prove that they were demented, dementia, losing their minds, incapacitated, coerced, whatever, there's really not much they can do. There's a signed, notarized, witnessed will. So anyway, but they'll try. Trust me on that one. I'm really sorry you're having to go through that. It's hard enough losing a parent, honestly, and then to have to deal with the estate, and not the estate so much, but the other siblings afterwards, is especially if the other siblings are being, greedy, needy, selfish, cruel, etc., etc., etc. It is hard. It is hard. So if you are struggling with this, I would suggest writing and burning letters so that you can get it out of your head and onto paper and burn it, let it go, the emotions, right? Get with a good therapist, a good trauma therapist to help you kind of process the betrayal, because this is a betrayal, and work on, just work on yourself. They're going to try to wear you down. They're going to gaslight you. They're going to, really, do you really need this? You know, do you really want to fight me? Do you really, they do all of that crap. So make sure your self-esteem is rock solid, because they're going to come in and they're going to gaslight you, and they're going to say out every nasty thing they think they need to in order to get more. So just, take good care of yourself. It's really important. So I hope that answered the question. I feel so betrayed by my family of origin and my ex. I am so angry and I want to throw and break things. Please help. Whew, okay, let's talk about righteous anger. Okay, when we come out of an abusive relationship, and especially when we're realizing, kind of connected to the first question, that our family of origin has been less than stellar, I think is a good way to put it, betraying, cruel, set us up kind of thing, set us up for codependency, set us up for bad relationships, etc. And we realize it and we can see it and we've started processing it. Yes, we are going to be angry, like Incredible Hulk. Oh my God, I want to throw and break things. Yeah, that's true, because what's underneath the anger? Let's take a look at that. What is underneath that anger? Sadness, hurt, betrayal, fear. And the level of betrayal is huge, especially if the family has sided with the abuser and or tried to encourage you to stay with the abuser. I mean, that tells me everything I need to know about that family of origin. You know what I'm saying? So what you do with the anger is you don't resist it, but you also don't act on it in an unhealthy way. So there is a middle path. So anger is a normal emotion. It is a normal emotion. It is a normal response to fear, hurt, sadness, betrayal. It is. It is the easiest emotion to access. All of the other emotions are pure. Love is love, lust is lust, happy is happy, sad is sad. Anger is driven by the softer emotions. Anger is like the bodyguard of the softer emotions. And when we're in a dysfunctional family that doesn't know how to deal with emotions, wouldn't recognize an emotion if it walked up and did the Watusi with them, then we never learn how to have healthy, righteous anger. So anger is not a bad emotion. And I love how abusers always, and when I say love, I mean the polar opposite, but I love how abusers always try to say, don't you be angry, I'll give you something to be angry about, or you can't be angry at me, or, whatever their is. You know what I'm saying? So, healthy anger. You have a right to be angry. You do. It is part of our fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response. So, when a threat comes in, emotional or physical, the amygdala lights up like a Christmas tree and starts telling the hippocampus, hypothalamus that sits on either side of it, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, we need cortisol. Body floods with cortisol. We tense up, fists clench, body's tight, chest tight. We stop breathing normally. And so the CO2 oxygen exchange is all wonkified, right? That tells another part of the brain, oh my God, we are going to die. We need energy now. So then that tells the adrenal gland that sits on top of the kidneys, release everything at once. So then it does. It releases everything at once. Now we're shaking like a leaf, racing thoughts, pounding heart. And at this point, and puffy little breasts that don't do anything, at this point, we do one of two things. We either go into your classical panic attack, which is the, oh my God, I can't breathe. And then we keel over because we, too much oxygen, not enough CO2. So, you know what I'm saying? It's all funkified. Or the other response that a lot of people have is Incredible Hulk. We get angry. Why? Well, it's a response to a fear. It's a fear response. So if you're the Incredible Hulk, not very many people are going to mess with you unless they want to end up dead. Do you see where I'm going with that? It's a way to stay safe, basically. So anger is there to just alert us that we have got softer emotions going on underneath that we are trying to protect. So what I suggest people do when they find themselves just livid, angry. First of all, you have a right to your anger. Think about it. You've been abused. People who you trusted betrayed you. You have a right to your anger. Now, that does not mean you act on it. It does not mean you go around the house breaking things, okay? But you got to acknowledge it. Yes, I am freaking angry right now. Okay, great. I'm angry. What's underneath the anger? That's these stupid softer emotions. Okay, great. You've got these stupid softer emotions. What do you need to express? What do you need to do? So, 2 ways you can approach it. One way to approach it is get a boxing bag. Serious as a heart attack. Work it out physically. Because what I find is that when I start punching on the punching bag, after about 5 minutes or so, I'm sobbing because I finally have accessed the softer emotions, right? The other way to go about it is write it out. How did you get hurt? How did you get betrayed? Who betrayed you? Who should never have betrayed you? So you're going to write it out like a goodbye letter, but you are not going to send it. Listen to me now. Believe me later. Do not send these letters. It is not going to do what you think it's going to do. Because so many times I have clients going, well, I sent it. And I'm like, oh, God, did I not tell you not to send it? And they're like, well, it felt really good. And then a week later, they come back and they're like, it was the wrong thing to do. And I'm like, yes, it was. You cannot do that. You are feeding their narcissistic supply. Remember, abusers don't care where the attention comes from, negative or positive. They don't care as long as it's there. The best thing to do is cut them off. Cut them off. Give them nothing. No anger, no sadness, no tears, no nothing. Because that anything is supplied to them. It makes them feel very powerful. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to encourage them. And you don't want to prolong that connection to them. And I think a lot of times what ends up happening is that inner child sends the letter because they want that person that love bombed them to come back and love them. But that's never going to happen because that person was an illusion. Absolutely. And that's part of the grieving process, is realizing that that perfect person did not exist. But what they did do is they mirrored us. They mirrored our good qualities. So that's kind of a cool thing. It's like, wow, I have all these good qualities. Wow, you know? So the betrayal is real. The betrayal is real. Write and burn goodbye letters. Write and burn angry letters. Get it out of your head, get it onto paper. Or get a punching bag and start talking it through. Who are you mad at? Who do you want to really be punching? You know, that kind of thing. And don't break your own things. Don't do it. Now, there are some places, I do believe there is one in Phoenix, where you can go and it's like an angry room and you can go and you can break stuff. So I don't think it's worth the money, but I mean, hey, if it helps, go do that. Go break that stuff. Don't break your own stuff. So, yeah, betrayal is real. Betrayal is real. And it's underneath the betrayal, under the feelings of betrayal, sadness. Sadness, especially if it was family of origin. They're supposed to be our model for how to in this world. And they are supposed to be our protector. And they are supposed to be our friends, you know, kind of thing. Not friends like in a dysfunctional way, but you know, siblings, parents, they're supposed to teach us love, and they're supposed to teach us safety, and they're supposed to teach us how to in this world. And when we have a family of origin that is me, I, more, they don't teach us what we need to. Oftentimes we become the parent and we take care of them as opposed to the other way around. So yeah, when we come out of these relationships, we're incredibly angry. You know, John and I used to joke that, you know, here's Chris happy, here's Chris sad, here's Chris just sitting there. I was angry. I was really, 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 really angry because I was realizing the different layers of betrayal that my family did and how I got set up to have several bad relationships. So, yeah, you write it out. Write it out. Write it out. Get it out of your head, get it onto paper, get a punching bag. Punch the punching bag. Work it out physically. So remember, little kids, if you ever watch a little kid, when they're processing through stuff, they go out and they play really hard. So like when I was working at the grief clinic, they would, you know, we would talk about grief things and then we would have a break and the kids would just play really, really hard. And then they'd come back in and process some more of the emotional stuff. So kids tend to do it from the physical to the emotional. Adults tend to do it emotionally, but sometimes it helps to hit it from both sides because we're also dealing with the inner child or the inner children. So your betrayal feelings are 100% correct. Your anger is 100% correct. Don't break your own stuff. It's not going to help, but I understand where you're coming from. So we have a right to have righteous anger. Righteous anger is when we have been wronged and we've been hurt and we've been betrayed. It's okay to feel angry. It's what we do with the anger that makes it either helpful or hurtful. So you don't want to hurt yourself. You certainly don't want to encourage somebody's narcissistic supply. Write and burn, get a punching bag. And get with a good therapist, Read the books I suggest. Go through CPTSD, From Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker. Go through the Self-Esteem Workbook, Glenn Schiraldi. The Disease to Please, Harriet Breaker. A lot of this stuff is the codependency stuff. It was like, oh, great, thanks, Mom and Dad. Love to be codependent, not, So, yeah, so there is that. So you're not crazy. You're not wrong for having anger. Just make sure that it's being put into a constructive way as opposed to a destructive way. So, hope that helped answer the question. My lawyer doesn't understand high conflict divorces and constantly is surprised by my ex's communication and his attorney's communication. I don't know what to do. Well, I technically cannot tell you what to do, but if it was me, I would find a different attorney. I would. You want to make sure to read 2 books. Splitting by Bill Eddy and Randy Krieger. And, what is the other one? Lori Hellis. Lori Hellis's No Nonsense Guide to Divorce. So, Lori Hellis, No Nonsense Guide to Divorce. That's a great book. I mean, and I hand it to all my lawyer friends and go, read this! Because, it talks about high conflict divorce in there, and Splitting talks about high conflict, and I hand that to them too. And be like, you need to know this. A lot of lawyers, and this is the sad truth, and I've said it 100,000 million times, and I'll say it 100,000 million more. A lot of lawyers are narcissists themselves, and they subconsciously or consciously will side with the abuser. Judges, a lot of judges are narcissists themselves. They're heinous. They too will side with the abuser. And if you don't have an attorney who is really spot on, understands high conflict divorce, knows how these creeps think, knows how the opposing attorney thinks, this is the thing. You want an attorney who's well connected. You do. Because they go golf with each other all the time. They golf with the judges. They golf with other attorneys. You want one who knows these people and knows how they think and knows where they're going. And do you see where I'm going with that? It's a game. It's a game. It's a sucky game. It's stupid. And oh my God, we need reform. Don't get me started because you know how I feel about that. The family court system is beyond broken. It is absolutely beyond broken. There are judges on there that there was one recently that was removed because they didn't know what they were doing. And there were so many complaints about them that they finally moved them to a different court other than family court. Frankly, they should have been thrown out 110% from the profession, but I'm not on that board. So anyway, the point being is not all judges are good judges. Not all lawyers are good lawyers. You must find one that understands high conflict divorce, is not going to shy from the issue, is not going to run, is not going to, isn't green, isn't fresh out of law school, and does not, has never dealt with these types. Narcissists tend to hire other narcissists, basically. So what I'll see is clients of mine will get a really good attorney who understands high conflict divorce and all of that stuff. And then the opposing one will go get an attorney who's just a sleazeball, just total sleazeball. And like I said, it like tends to attract like, you know what I'm saying? So, you want one that understands high conflict divorces, well connected, socializes, knows the people in the system, knows the other attorneys, knows how they think, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because this is nothing to mess around with. Divorces are expensive to begin with. When you are dealing with a disordered ex, and there are children involved, they will do everything they can to run up the costs. You've got to get an attorney who's going to nip that in the bud immediately. Like, we're not playing this game. No, we're not going to keep running up the lawyer's costs. No, we're not going to keep. Do you see where I'm going with that? So, yeah, you want to get an attorney who knows what they're doing, and you want to get an attorney who understands high conflict divorce. Otherwise, you are literally throwing good money after bad. So, and a lot of times too, I have clients go, but I've already given $5,000 to this attorney. Okay, that is the money sunk in, time sunk in fallacy of thinking. If they are not doing the job for you, you need to find somebody who will. Okay, so that's $5,000 that you're going to be out of, but and why would you continue paying somebody who's not doing their job? Does that make sense? And I mean, I know it's scary. I know we don't have a lot of money. I know that abusers do everything they can to bankrupt the other person and to financially abuse them and all of that stuff. But if you're dealing with shared custody, your children are literally at stake here. So you've got to do what you've got to do. Get an attorney who knows what they're doing. That would be the best advice I could give you. So anyway, I hope that helps. And I really hate these abusers. I really, and the court system really angers me. It really does, because it is not set up to deal with abusers. It's not. Judges are not, and lawyers are not trained in disorders. They're not trained in dealing with domestic violence. They're not trained in it. Honestly, it's almost like you need to have a social worker as a paralegal to help that attorney and or judge. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just dog face banana patch. Ugh! If I could be swearing, I would. So, yeah, it makes me very angry. And the only way that's going to change is if enough of us continue to write in to our representatives, to our senators, to our, because that's where the laws get changed. And keep pointing out, it's like kids are falling through the cracks. DCS is not doing what it's supposed to. The family court system is irreparably broken. It needs to be fixed, and you just keep harping on it. And that's what we can do. Eventually somebody will listen. And especially, I hate to say it, but it's like when the system completely breaks down and somebody dies, that's when they finally start listening. And to me, that's reprehensible. They should be listening before that happens. So anyway, I'm not a fan of our court system. I'm not a fan of the way it's set up. I don't think the family court system does justice, because honestly, think about it. Most divorces are settled mostly amicably. The ones who go to court are the ones who are high conflict. A lot of people are able to settle in mediation because, they're not disordered. They're recognizing the relationship doesn't work. They want their partner to go their way. They want to go their way. They want to have, joint custody and make sure the kid is okay. The ones that end up in court are the ones who are high conflict, because otherwise they'd be able to settle. And the court system is not equipped to deal with it. There's no training. I would dearly love to get in front of a whole bunch of attorneys and just ream them up the you-know-what. Because it's like, look, you guys, you need to know this. Because if you're going into family law, these are the jackasses you're going to deal with. So, anyway, there's that. All right, my love. So, on Sunday, I will be talking about why you don't want to go to couples counseling with an abuser and bad counselors. How do you fire them? I will tell you. So, anyway, there is that. You guys have a great week, and I will talk to you on Sunday. Bye.